authority run and funded, you still find yourself raising money to do things yourselves, don't you? Like we've heard from Harold there, who to the best of his ability and with woeful inadequate resources tries to maintain the bowling pavilion, and yet he still can't keep up with the demands of the, well, basically the dilapidation that's going on, and that's a terrible shame. Well, we're coming up to centenary quite shortly. I mean, in a couple of years' time, 3 years' time in fact, the park will be 100 years old, and the buzz around Shaw is, well, people know that the park is going to be 100 years old. It's a big thing. And what would you like to offer them following this bid? What would you be using the money for?
Well, the way the money is used, as far as the Heritage Lottery Fund are concerned, is in whatever it's the people of Crompton and district want it used for. So what we have to do is find out from them what their views are.
So there'll be a consultation exercise.
This has been going on for the past 2 years. The Friends of Dunwood Park have taken 2 surveys of people who've used the park and people who live locally. The local authority have those surveys, all the results of that, and have based an action plan and a master plan for the development of the park on those surveys.
Hence the bid for funding, because you now know what you want to do.
This is the case that we can put in front of the Heritage Lottery Fund a master plan for that development, which so far, and we've gone through the various stages, they have approved at this stage. What the details will be will depend upon the amount of funding available.
Yeah.
But hopefully we will have a renovation of the pavilion,
of course,
of the other community building in the park, of all the parkland areas, this amphitheatre, bandstand areas it was called.
It's a perfect natural amphitheatre, this area we're sitting in. I have to say that if something could be done with this section to provide once again an area for performance perhaps, or outdoor exhibition in this place, it would be wonderful. I mean, my grandfather, you know, actually got thrown out of this park when he was about 13 years old because he used to sit on the banking there, and him and his friends used to suck lemons in front of the band to put them off playing. he got thrown out for doing that a few times. Anyway, we're talking about renovation of the paths and walkways. Now, this is very important for some groups more than others. We've just seen some children having a great time in the park. Now, the park's used by walkers. We've met a few dogs on the way through today being walked about, well, owners being walked by dogs, I should say. But the park, at the moment, if you perhaps aren't so steady on your feet, or perhaps use a wheelchair or a disability scooter, you would find it quite difficult to negotiate some areas of the park, wouldn't you? Yes,
there are parts of the park paths, the main paths, which are quite difficult, and that's after quite a lot of patching work has been done, due mainly to the work that we have done in bringing this to the attention of the authorities.
The park's used by all age groups. I mean, I've got a 2-year-old grandson, and there are some parts of even this path we're standing on now, I will be very carefully. I couldn't just let him run, whatever 2-year-olds do. It's muddy, it's badly drained, there are holes in it. And as you said, we've been patching for years here, haven't we? We don't want to patch anymore, do we? We want to start afresh and get it done properly.
No, we'd be throwing good money after bad if we were to do that. The solution has to be a complete renovation with new drainage, new pathways. All of that is part of it.
Now that costs money, hence the bid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't keep sticking a tiny plaster on a very large wound, as it's turning out, can
Not
you?
at all. But we are working with the local community. We've involved all the primary schools in this bid process. They're taking their children, as you've seen today, into the park, doing work in relation to the park and various aspects of that, the historical, the environmental and such like. And that's part of what we have been doing in order to bring the case for the renovation of the park to the notice of the Heritage Lottery Fund through the local authority.
Well, hoping that the bid is successful, I'm really looking forward to seeing the park restored to what must have been its glory days of several years ago. Thanks very much, Mike McGrother, for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, this is Keith Bennell, and he's the head of Parks and Countryside Development for Oldham Metropolitan Borough Council. Now, Keith, what would a successful funding bid mean to you?
it'd mean an awful lot. We've so far we have restored over 14 parks in Oldham through a process called the Tulip Fund Day, where we concentrated all our money into one park. And 2 or 3 years ago, unfortunately, because of various budget cuts, we were no longer able to do that, and Dunwood has lost out in that process.
You've gone so far but no further, haven't you, with what you tried to do?
With our own money, we can't afford to do it anymore, though we have made some improvements, as you can see.
They're lovely.
But coincidentally, the Big Lottery have now come up with this money to improve parks, which is our big opportunity. We're talking over £500,000 potentially, and so far we've been quite successful in getting the grant to prepare for that. That's where we are at the moment, and we will be submitting a bid by the end of March for the full amount of restoration, which will be very dramatic, include the buildings and the bowling green, the woodlands, the whole lot. And we're feeling quite confident that we will gain this bid, because we have fantastic community support, and that is very important to the Big Lottery bid.
Absolutely. I mean, the social inclusion aspect of the bid is paramount, isn't it? Because there are so many people who could enjoy and use the park who can't do so with it in its present state, aren't there?
No, that's true. We've got to encourage a lot more people back. But as well as that, we have to demonstrate that the local community values the park and is fully behind it. And I have to say, in the parks I've done in the past, I've done over 8 or 9 of them myself, we've not had such a strong community support.
It's a park that's held very, very highly in public affection in these parts. It goes
sure
back a long way in a lot of families' history. I was talking about my grandfather earlier. Yeah, my grandparents did the courting here. Well, I wish you the very best of luck with the funding bid.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for talking to us,
We'll get back
Kate.
to work. Cheers.
Well, this is what's been done with the small amount of cash that's been spent so far on the park. The children's play area has been transformed from this into this, and I think you'll agree that it's a huge improvement. This is the standard that's being aimed at throughout the park during the improvements. We hope you enjoyed your visit to Dunwood Park today and meeting some of the many people to whom it means so much. Let's hope that in the future, with the plans in place and some of them perhaps carried out in the very near future, it will be able to continue to provide enjoyment and pleasure for many people for as many years to come as it has so far.